Parent, have you ever stopped to think about the power of your words? Every sentence you say to your child becomes a part of their inner dialogue. The things you casually mention, the offhand remarks, the moments of frustration, these don't just disappear into the air. They take root, they grow, and eventually they shape who your child becomes. But what if I told you that certain phrases, things many parents say without thinking, could cause irreversible damage? They might seem harmless at first, but over time, they chip away at confidence, limit potential, and even harm the relationship between you and your child. These are not just words. They are seeds planted deep within their minds. And if you're not careful, those seeds will grow into doubt, fear, and resentment. As you get older, there are 5 sentences you should never say to your child. These phrases, though common, could lead to disaster in your relationship and their future. And if you've said them before, don't worry. Awareness is the first step toward change. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to avoid and what to say instead. Let's dive in. Imagine this. Your child comes home excited, holding up a drawing they worked on for hours. It's far from perfect. Maybe the lines are messy, the colors are off, but their little eyes are shining with pride. And then, instead of encouragement, they hear something like, "That's not very good. You'll never be as talented as your brother." That one sentence can cut deeper than any physical wound. It tells a child that no matter how hard they try, they'll never measure up. It plants a seed of self-doubt that follows them for years, making them question their abilities, their worth, and even their identity. And when a child hears it enough times, they stop trying altogether. Why bother if they'll never be good enough? Children internalize the words of their parents. What you say becomes the voice in their head as they grow older. If you constantly criticize them, they'll learn to criticize themselves. If you make them feel inadequate, they'll carry that inadequacy into adulthood. Instead of saying, "You'll never be good enough," try, "I see you putting in effort, and I love that. Keep going, even if they struggle." Encouragement builds resilience, and resilience, that's what leads to success. Ever had a child ask why? After you tell them to do something, it can be frustrating, especially when you're tired, overwhelmed, or just want things done quickly. So you shut down the conversation with 4 little words. "Because I said so." At first glance, this might seem like a way to assert authority. After all, you're the parent. You make the rules, right? But here's the problem. When you say "because I said so," you're not teaching your child why something is important. You're just demanding obedience. Think about it. If a child is taught to follow orders without understanding the reasoning behind them, what happens when someone else, like a peer, a boss, or even a toxic partner, means they do something harmful? They've been trained not to question authority, not to think critically, and not to stand up for themselves. Instead of "because I said so," try. Here's why this is important. Help them understand the reasoning behind rules. Teach them critical thinking, decision making, and personal responsibility. A child who understands why will grow into an adult who can think for themselves. Picture this. Your child is crying. Maybe they're upset over something that seems small to you. Maybe they fell, lost a toy, or feel overwhelmed by emotions they don't fully understand. And then out of frustration you say it, stop crying right now. It sounds harmless, right? But here's the dangerous truth. When you tell a child to stop crying, you're not just asking for silence. You're teaching them that their emotions are not valid. You're telling them that sadness, frustration, and even fear are things to be suppressed rather than understood. Over time, this can lead to serious emotional consequences. Kids who grow up believing their feelings don't matter may struggle with emotional intelligence as adults. They may bottle up emotions until they explode in unhealthy ways, or they may struggle to express themselves in relationships. Worse yet, they might start believing that their pain is an inconvenience to others, leading to low self-esteem and a reluctance to seek help when they truly need it. Instead of saying, stop crying, try to see that you're upset. It's okay to feel that way. Let's talk about it. Teach your child that emotions are normal, that it's safe to express them, and that there are healthy ways to process feelings. Emotionally secure children grow into emotionally strong adults. Comparison. It's one of the most dangerous weapons a parent can use against their child. You might think you're motivating them by saying, why can't you be more like your sister? Or your cousin always gets straight A's. Why can't you? But what you're really doing is telling your child, who you are isn't good enough. Comparison doesn't inspire. It crushes. It makes a child feel inadequate, like no matter what they do, they'll never be valued for who they truly are. And worse, it breeds resentment, not only toward the person they're being compared to, but also toward you. Think about it. How would you feel if your spouse or boss constantly compared you to someone else? It would be demoralizing, right? Children feel that same pain, but even more intensely because they're still forming their sense of identity. When you compare them to others, they may start believing they're not worthy of love unless they meet unrealistic expectations. Instead of comparison, celebrate their uniqueness. Instead of, why can't you be more like your sister? Try, I love who you are and I see the effort you're putting in. Let's figure out how we can improve together. When a child feels valued for who they are, they develop confidence, self-worth, and a willingness to grow, not out of fear, but out of belief in themselves. Every parent has moments of frustration. Your child refuses to listen, argues back, or challenges your authority. And in that heated moment, the words slip out. You're so difficult. You're so difficult. But here's the problem. Children don't just hear those words. They internalize them. If a child is constantly told they're difficult, stubborn, or a problem, they start believing it. It becomes their identity. They don't think, I was having a tough moment. They think, I am difficult. I am a problem. Maybe I'm unlovable. Labeling a child as difficult can have long-term effects on their self-esteem. They may start believing they are inherently bad or unworthy of patience and understanding. Over time, this can lead to self-sabotage, rebellion, or even shutting down emotionally because they don't feel accepted for who they are. Instead of saying you're so difficult, try to see you're having a hard time. Let's figure this out together. Shift the focus from blaming their personality to understanding their emotions. More often than not, what looks like difficult behavior is just a child struggling with feelings they don't know how to express. And when they feel understood, they learn to regulate their emotions instead of suppressing them. Parents often make incredible sacrifices for their children, giving up time, dreams, and even personal happiness to provide a better life. But when those sacrifices turn into guilt, tripping statements like, I gave up everything for you, or after all I've done, This is how you repay me. They don't create gratitude. They create resentment. Think about it. When a child hears that their existence has cost their parents something, they don't feel loved. They feel like a burden. They may start believing that they owe their parents something in return, even at the expense of their own happiness. This mindset follows them into adulthood. They may struggle with guilt, constantly trying to repay their parents by suppressing their own dreams. Or they may go the opposite direction, pulling away completely because the emotional weight of sacrifice is too much to bear. Either way, the relationship becomes transactional rather than based on love and mutual respect. Instead of reminding your child of your sacrifices, let them feel secure in your love. Say, I love you, and I've always wanted the best for you. I just want to see you happy. True parental love is given freely, not as a debt to be repaid, but as a foundation for their success and well-being. Children make mistakes. It's part of growing up. They spill drinks, forget homework, and break things. But the way you respond in those moments has a lasting impact. Saying you always mess things up or you can't do anything. Right doesn't just address the mistake. Labels the child as a failure. Over time, they stop seeing their mistakes as learning opportunities and start believing that they are inherently flawed. Instead of thinking, I made a mistake, they think, I am a mistake. And that belief follows them into adulthood, where they may struggle with self-doubt, perfectionism, or fear of trying new things because they expect to fail. No child is perfect, and no adult is either. Growth comes from trial and error. Instead of criticizing their identity, focus on the identity. Focus on the action. It looks like this didn't go as planned. When children understand that mistakes are not a reflection of their worth, they develop confidence, resilience, and the ability to bounce back from failure. When a child asks why, it's because they're curious. They're trying to make sense of the world. But when they hear you'll understand when you're older, it doesn't satisfy their curiosity. Shuts it down. This phrase teaches children that their thoughts and questions are unimportant. It tells them that their opinions don't matter and that their perspective is invalid. Over time, they may stop asking questions altogether, not because they understand, but because they feel dismissed. Worse yet, when they do grow older, they might resent the fact that their concerns were never taken seriously in the first place. Instead of brushing off their curiosity, try, that's a great question. Let's talk about it. If it's a complex topic, you can simplify your response to match their age, but never dismiss their need to understand. Engaging with their questions encourages critical thinking and strengthens your bond. When children feel heard, they develop confidence in their voice and their ability to seek knowledge. Few words cut deeper than hearing that you are a disappointment to the people you love most. When a parent says, I wish you were more like your brother, or I wish you were more like your brother, or I wish you were easier to handle, they might think they're pushing their child towards self. But what they're really doing is rejecting them for who they are. No child should have to earn their parents' love by being someone else. Comparing them to siblings, friends, or even a younger version of themselves doesn't motivate them. It makes them feel unworthy. It tells them who you are isn't enough. And when children grow up feeling like they'll never be enough, they carry that insecurity into every area of life. Relationships, careers, and even their own parenting. Instead of comparisons, focus on celebrating their individuality. Replace I wish you were more like with I love the person you are becoming. Show them that they are valued for their unique strengths and that their worth isn't dependent on how they measure up to someone else. A child who feels accepted will grow into an adult who believes in themselves, rather than constantly seeking validation. Your words, as a parent, don't just disappear. They stay with your child for years, shaping how they see themselves and the world. The phrases we've discussed today may seem small, but their impact is enormous. If you've said any of these before, don't panic. It's never too late to change. The most important thing is awareness and the willingness to do better. Parenting isn't about perfection. It's about growth. If you've read this far, it means you care. And that's what truly matters. Now, take a moment to reflect. Which of these phrases have you heard or said before? And how can you replace them with words that build up rather than tear down? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because when we choose our words wisely, we shape a future filled with confidence, love, and endless possibilities.